Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. My name is Hazuki Mori of the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar. So this webinar is about our Access to Space for All initiative ISONscope opportunity, and this is dedicated to answer all of your questions that you may have. So we have already done a Q&A registration form. So in the webinar, we will answer all your questions that we have received previously, and also we will answer any questions that you may have right now. So before we begin, first of all, I'd like to ask all of you to turn off your cameras and your microphones. Actually, we're able to mute you, but we can't turn off your cameras, and we would really like to have the cameras only for the speakers. So please make sure to turn off your cameras. Second, please use the chat box to ask any questions. And in the chat box, we will put our questionnaire form in it. So make sure to answer our questionnaire before you leave. And lastly, please use the hashtag Access to Space for All and ISONscope to help us promote this webinar. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I forgot to include LinkedIn, sorry, but we have all these social media platforms at UNUSA, so please feel free to tag us and also mention the hashtags that I've mentioned before. Okay, for the agenda today, we will have a short introduction to the Access to Space for All initiative and to ISONscope from my colleague Wenbin Zhang. And after that, we will have a short introduction of Keldysh Institute of Applied Mathematics and the International Scientific Optical Network, which is ISON. After that, we will dive into the Q&A. As I mentioned earlier, in the first phase, we will answer all the questions that we received beforehand. And after that, we will answer any questions that you have in the chat. So if you have any questions, you don't have to wait until the Q&A. Please make sure to just keep on sending them in the chat, and then we will answer them at the end. Okay, so I'd like to invite my colleague Wenbin to do his short introduction. Wenbin, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, Hazuki. So first, let me share my screen. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone, to come this morning. It is a pleasure to give a brief introduction on Access to Space for All. But before that, I'm very happy to advertise two more activities for the office. One is a webinar named Pushing Frontiers, Human Spaceflight and Disability Virtual Event. UNUSA is happy to hold this webinar with European Space Agency, so don't hesitate to join our distinguished panel in this multidisciplinary webinar to learn more about ESA Parastronaut Feasibility Project. It's next Wednesday. Another is Space for Use competition. USA, in collaboration with the Space Generation Advisory Council, is launching the Space for Use competition. The theme is Use for Climate 2021, Space as a Tool to Foster Climate Mitigation and Adaptation. It's open to students and young professionals, and the deadline is April 26, so don't miss both. Okay, let's talk about the Access to Space for All. At USA, the program on space application was established in 1971. In the past 50 years, the office has made substantial progress in furthering knowledge and experience of space application around the world. The office has noticed an increasing demand for hands-on expertise related to access to space. To answer the increasing demand for hands-on capacity building, we started to provide hands-on opportunity in collaboration with various partners back in 2012, and in 2018 launched the Access to Space for All initiative, which organized all the hands-on opportunities offered by USA in 3 different tracks of increasing complexity, aiming at developing capacity in different space-related areas from A to Z. The goal of the Access to Space for All initiative is to provide research and orbital opportunities for United Nations member states to access space and to ensure that the benefits of space, in particular for sustainable development, are truly accessible to all. And one of the most important purpose of the Access to Space for All initiative is to address the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, quality education. Education is always important, especially in space, as a cutting-edge discipline. Technological innovation pushes the development of space activity, and education provides powerful support to the innovation. I would say there's no technological innovation without education, and education contributes to sustainable development and also the economy. As I mentioned earlier, opportunities under Access to Space for All initiative has been split into 3 tracks, which is hypergravity, microgravity track, satellite deployment track, and exploration track. These tracks offer gradual learning steps that help participants develop capabilities in a sustainable and responsible manner. 8 hands-on opportunities organized under the tracks respectively, and 4 in yellow circles are open now. As you can see here, we have a wonderful set of governmental, intergovernmental, and commercial partners. Partners provide access to facilities, infrastructure, and provide support of the development of technical and scientific capabilities and in the different tracks. The office is actively working on expanding its portfolio of activities and is searching for more partners to cover some of the identified gaps, which you can see in red dot. Yes, 4 opportunities are open for application at the moment. They are WIGA-C, ISONscope, KivoCube, and Job Test. Today we don't have time to introduce each of them, but please make sure to visit our website and check the announcement of opportunity. One more thing I have to mention is webinars. Webinars are the most common way that we use, especially in this pandemic situation. In this January and February, we had KivoCube Academy, which is a series of webinars to help future applicants, especially who wants to win the opportunity in a satellite deployment track. And this time, a new series of webinars is coming to introduce general aspects of developing and conducting an experiment in the hypergravity, microgravity, such as the fundamentals, special characteristics, what type of research can be done, and how to develop an experiment to be conducted in hypergravity, microgravity environment. The webinars will start on April 21st, every Wednesday. Also, it will have morning session and afternoon session. And this time, maybe different speakers will talk in the 2 sessions, because this time we invited many experts and students all over the world. The registration for the first webinars is open, so please make sure to visit our website to join now. All right, let's back to ISONscope. The objective of this opportunity is to provide small telescopes to selected academic and research institutions in developing countries and training to operate them free of charge. It's a great opportunity for developing countries to start in the exciting field of astronomy, supported by the experience of the Keldysh Institute of Applied Mathematics, which is our partner in this project. Please visit the ISONscope website to find the announcement of opportunity and application form. Also, you can find frequent asked question and also the video of last webinar when we announced this opportunity, as well as other information regarding to this program. And one more thing I would highly recommend you to read If you go to Access to Space for All website and scroll down, you can find there are more tips on how to improve your application. It's also a series of webinars we did last year. It provided a guidance for application, many really cool things like how to raise awareness about your project, space law and regulations, experience from past winners, and also artificial intelligence. So if you want to submit an excellent application, make sure to read this information. I'm sure that it will help you a lot. And for ISONscope, later our partner Keldysh Institute will give a brief introduction on this, but before him, I would like to give a quick background feeling. This is a brand new program under Access to Space for All initiative, and we established this partnership with Keldysh last year according to the Memorandum of Understanding between USA and Keldysh. Within this program, the winner will get a small wide field of view telescopes and have a chance to receive trainings by Keldysh and also a chance of cooperation in ISON network. The most important thing you have to do is download our announcement of our opportunity and application form on the website I have mentioned before. And don't forget to submit your application form by May 1st in this year. This year, 2 telescopes will be given to 2 winners, 1 for each. I have to mention here in our announcement of opportunity, there is a clear description on eligibility criteria. The first you have to notice is this opportunity only open to entities located in developing countries that are member states of the United Nations. I'm sorry if your entity is located in developed economies or economies in transition, so you cannot apply this opportunity. About the classification of economies, we refer the World Economic Situation and Prospects 2020, which you can find at the bottom of page 4 of Announcement of Opportunity. In that report, look at Annex Table A and B and C, which is from page 165 to page 166. And this is the schedule of this program. Application closed on May 1st, and shortlist will be noticed in July, and final announcement of a winner will be in October. And after 6 to 18 months, you will get your telescope. It depends on the progress of deployment, and every 6 months after the deployment, a winner has to submit a report on the telescope to UNWUSA. And also you can find selection criteria. Just please make sure you read every sentence of the document, because we are going to use this to evaluate every applications. And last but not least, I would like to mention how to submit your application. The fully completed application document of the letter of endorsement from the head of entity, which is section 1.3 in application form, and the whole application form in PDF format must be submitted to USA by May 1st, 2021. Through email to unwusa@un.org. Okay, I will stop here and back the floor to my colleague Hazuki Mori.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Wenbin. Thank you for the introduction. Next, I'd like to introduce our colleagues at Keldysh Institute of Applied Mathematics. I'd like to introduce Mr. Artem Mokhnatkin. Artem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Hazuki. Let me for introduction. Let me share my screen.
While Artem is sharing his screen, I'd like to ask everyone, if you have any questions, please shoot them at us in the chat. I think you can see that my colleague Jorge is putting up a lot of useful links, so make sure to check those out too. Okay, we can see your presentation, Artem. So yeah, I will give the floor back to you.
So this is a short overview for those who were unable to attend the first webinar on ISONscope, and as a resume for those who are already familiar with ISON and ISONscope. The ISONscope project initiated within the Memorandum of Understanding, as when being said, between the UN and the Keldysh Institute of Applied Mathematics. Keldysh Institute is a part of the Russian Academy of Sciences with a head office in Moscow. Activities of its researchers focuses on a wide range of areas where complex mathematical and computational methods can be applied, including space-wide dynamics, celestial mechanics, and optical observations. ISON, or International Scientific Optical Network, is an initiative of Keldysh Institute's research fellows to coordinate international campaigns of optical observations. ISON mainly focuses on space objects orbiting the Earth in high orbits and near Earth objects. Our ISON involves small aperture telescopes at more than 20 sites worldwide. Some of the telescopes are operating by staff members of Keldysh Institute, some by staff members of hosting organizations. Collaboration with organizations on whose territory are the telescopes located rest on agreements on technical and scientific cooperation. ISONscope includes two opportunities for the provision of a 20-centimeter wide field of view telescope and supplementary equipment. The winners will sign the agreement on scientific and technical cooperation with Keldysh Institute, will participate in ISON observing campaigns, as well can allocate up to 50% of observing time of the telescope for their own research tasks. An important point that the opportunity and thus the agreement with Keldysh Institute implies not only the provision of a telescope and related equipment, but also provision of necessary software, training, and assistance in observations, etc. However, the selected entity must provide facilities and their staff members from the moment of the telescope installation to ensure that the telescope operation will be safe and efficient. You can find detailed information about ISONscope in the announcement of opportunity on the dedicated web page of UNOSA. The Q&A section is also there. If you haven't found the answer to your question, please to do this now, because it's a good time to do it during this webinar. So this is a recent photo of one of our observing sites located in Russia. Two 20-centimeter telescopes are in the foreground. Telescopes here have sliding roof shelters that we think is the best solution in terms of the price reliability ratio for small aperture telescopes. Therefore, if you win and don't have any shelter suitable for the telescope, you can build up a shelter from scratch using a similar row of roof design, and we will assist you with drawings and information on construction materials. This is ISON's pavilions of similar design in Mexico. This is the range of technical characteristics of equipment that will be provided under the ISONscope opportunity. This information is close to that in the list of the equipment compliant with ISON. I suppose that this presentation will soon become available online, or I guess it's already available on the ISONscope page of UNOSA, so you may have a look at these specifications there. When assembled and installed, this equipment will look something as follows. German equatorial mount stands on the pillar, holding the optical tube with a focuser and CCD or CMOS camera. The camera also connected to a 1-frequency GPS receiver for precise timing. Regarding ISON's observing campaigns, many of them dedicated to anthropogenic space objects in geosynchronous and high Earth orbits. We use this data to determine and improve their orbits. Also, we carry out routine monitoring of events in the geosynchronous region, do photometric studies of individual objects orbiting the Earth in all types of orbits. Besides that, a significant amount of observing time is devoted to asteroid observing campaigns, especially those for near-Earth asteroids. For both objects orbiting the Earth and asteroids, we collect observation data in our database. Observation of anthropogenic space objects, in particular space debris and near-Earth objects, collection and sharing this data, as we do and like similar projects, we believe are an important component of long-term sustainability, planetary defense, and an avenue towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you, Hazuki. Please. Let me
Thank you so much, Artem, for the introduction. And now I'd like to move into the question and answer session. So as I mentioned in the beginning, first we will have a question and answer session dedicated to answering the questions that we have received from the registration form. So we had many questions from you. Thank you so much for engaging with us. We'll try to answer them all here. And after that, we will answer the questions that are in the chat. Currently, I only see one, so if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to just shoot it at us. It's your last shot to ask us before the applications close. And we have Artem, who is the professional at Kiem, and we have our colleagues in USA that can help you with the application process. So yes, please feel free to shoot us questions. Okay, I'll give the floor back to Wenbin, and yeah, let's dive into the Q&A.
Yes, thank you, Hazuki. Yes, let me share this slides. I hope you can see, right? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's yes. You don't see it in the full screen mode though.
Oh, right. Sorry. Perfect.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, so thank you again, Hazuki, and also thank you, Artem, for the presentation. I think it has already answered a few questions, and because we collected some questions beforehand, so I will start with these questions. So first question, is this program related to the Comet ISON, which I have heard about a few years ago? I will forward this question to Artem. Hi, Artem, what do you think?
Yes, the winners of ISONscope will participate in ISON observing campaigns. ISON, or International Scientific Optical Network, is the initiative of Keldysh Institute of Applied Mathematics, and Comet ISON was discovered using a 40-centimeter telescope of ISON in 2012. On top of that, this is not the only comet discovered within the ISON initiative.
Yeah, so maybe I think this question is from your old friend, maybe one of your old friends. Okay, let's go next question. I would like to ask the use and applications in detail. So I think Elton, maybe you can answer this question.
Under the ISONscope project and within the cooperation with Keldysh Institute, we propose to participate in ISON campaigns on observation of objects orbiting the Earth in high orbits and asteroids, and up to 50% of observing time you can use for your research. For example, for photometric study of objects of your interest, for example. I don't hear you, Wenbin.
Wenbin, you are mute.
Yeah, hi, sorry. Yes, okay. Yes, exactly. As Elton just said, this opportunity provides a very precious chance to foster the capacity building in your country, and also through the participation of ISON, your staff will be trained, and they will also have chance to cooperate with the other experts through the ISON network. So I will say that there will be more valuable for winners. Okay, so next question. Oh, sorry. Next question, what will be provided in this opportunity? I think Elton has already mentioned it in his presentation. So basically a small wide field of view telescope, including an optical tube having an aperture of about 20 centimeter or maybe to 35 centimeter telescope mount, and also if necessary a CCD or CMOS camera and a focuser. Also training of experts for operation. Elton, if you have more details to share about this question.
We may, so I think that is enough. Maybe we can add that we also can provide like technical support and maintenance of the equipment during the cooperation, and
yeah,
under the ISONscope program.
Yeah, that will be very helpful. So I think, yeah, we go to the next question. Is there a remote control with the telescope, and is it movable for outreach activities? It's about the telescope, so I will hand this question to you, Elton.
So we suppose that it's possible, but with only with some observations. You can use observing plans for automated observations during the night, but even this type of operation would likely require manual intervention before and just after observing night. But probably we can avoid this in the future to make it fully remoted. However, anyway, nearby should be a technician to promptly resolve possible emergencies. And no, unfortunately, we think that the telescope should be stationary, so it could be used for outreach activities, but as a like stationary one, because for most of purposes of ISON observing campaigns, their precise position is necessary.
Okay, yeah, understand. So it's normally it's not movable, right? Okay, so maybe we go next question. Next question is how often does the announcement of opportunity occur in a year? Will be there similar opportunities in the future? Yes, so right, this is the first time that we open ISONscope opportunity. Let's see how it's going. And we at UNWUSA, we are very happy to provide more opportunities under Access to Space for All initiative. Also, you are welcome to keep watching on other opportunities, like I just said, KiboCube, WigaC, and Job Test. They are all open for application now. And back to ISONscope, it depends on the cooperation between USA and Keldysh. So we are also trying to bring more opportunities into this initiative. Autumn, I don't know if you have something to address.
I can add that we believe there's a high probability that we will hope that there's a high probability that we will run subsequent rounds. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Okay. Let's move next question. Well, it's a long question. Can you talk more about eligibility and the selection process? Does applying or being awarded this opportunity prevent you from applying to other opportunities? Will the membership of COPOS have a role in the selection process? Yeah, let's do it one by one. So the eligibility criteria, selection criteria, and technical requirements, you can find it in the announcement of opportunity, especially in section 10. Yeah, the foremost criteria is this opportunity opens to entities and located in developing countries that are member states of the United Nations. So if your entity is in developed economies or economic in transition, so you cannot apply this opportunity. And also in the announcement of opportunity, the selection criteria have been described, and please pay attention on that because we will evaluate each application according to that criteria. So second question. So it's a no. Applying or being awarded this opportunity will not prevent you from applying to other opportunities or other UNWUSA activities. Third question, yes, there's a no. So the selection process will run within UNWUSA and Keldysh Institute and does not take into account COPOS membership, but only eligibility state in the AO. So I think, yeah. I think I can move to the next question. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I move to next question. It is possible for independent applications to apply and be selected. Yeah, I'm afraid the answer is no. For independent candidates, I'm sorry, this opportunity only opens to entities located in developing countries that are member states of the United Nations. So you have to provide a certificate from the head of your entity. So for independent applications, so sorry, this time is no. And next question, could you please provide closer guidance, advice, and support in the application process? could you assist the countries that are struggling to get astronomy established in their countries? Yeah, for the first part, we at UNWUSA, we can support potential applicants to a limited extent within our staffing resources. Please send us your questions to our email. It's unwusa-access-space@un.org. For second part, at office, we organize activities like Dark and Quiet Sky workshop. And in that workshop, there are many astronomical experts, other organizations providing support to help establish astronomy, like the International Astronautical Union. So I think,
I think maybe I can add something.
Yeah, Autumn, maybe you can add something.
So I want to say that we regret that some issues are still remain unclear and not yet highlighted. We will be unable to provide explicit instruction on ISONscope before the deadline for submission of applications. For us, ISONscope is also in some way a brand new experience. We have to wait for the preliminary results of ISONscope to analyze them and create appropriate that guidance for further rounds. So please, at this moment, provide as much information in the application form as you can. Anyway, if you get on the short list, we will request the necessary information.
Okay, so thank you, Autumn. Yes, so both WUSA and Keldysh, we would like to help you for your application. So let's have a look at next question. Will the winner get further technical assistance related to the telescope as well in this program? What are the conditions for the provision of the telescope and the training, in particular the duration of the training, the location and the sponsorship if available? What is the number of people who can be trained? Yes, it's more related to technical assistance, so maybe Autumn, you could address to this question.
I would say that there is no strict confines on the duration of the training. Anyway, staff members of the winner involved in the cooperation with us under the ISONscope project can consult in any moments in the course of this cooperation, and we envisage that at least 2 visits of our staff to the country of the winner, lasting about 2 weeks, will be necessary during the initial period of the cooperation for training purposes. We expect that parties of the future cooperation will not provide to each other any direct financial support, and sponsorship to cover travel expenses is not foreseen within this opportunity. And there is no restrictions on the number of trainees. I suppose that it just shall not exceed some reasonable quantity. Okay, I think it's I have done.
Yeah. I think it's very clear. So thank you, Autumn. Yes, let's move next one. Among the requested information, some needs long research, which you may take up to 1 year. For example, the clear night hours per day per year. Currently, there's no research done on the site testing for telescopes in our country. How can we apply with a few available information on the site? Yes, I will also hand it to you, Autumn.
Thank you. Thank you for the very practical question. Such a situation, of course, may occur for the site where observations performed for the first time. In that case, we suggest, like according to research ethics, provide the most reliable information available. What does it mean? For example, you may use weather archive data from a weather station nearby. If, however, there is no way to obtain even a raw approximation or something, please specify this in the application form along with the explanation of the reason for this. If you get an estimation of some value, but you think that is not reliable, please indicate the reason for your doubts. I hope that uncertainty that cannot be avoided in the site data will not lead to the under evaluation of applications.
Right. Yes. So for the clear night hours per year, I think there is a website, maybe a World Weather Information Service. Yeah, something you can find on this website is the number of maybe raining day in your country or in your area. So I think this website could help some in some extent to your application. Okay, so I will go next one. What is the list of equipment compatible with ISON 4? Yeah, I think this is the, you mean the document you find on our website. Maybe Autumn, you could explain this document?
So the list of equipment compatible with ISON, it's the list of equipment that may be used jointly with the equipment provided under the ISONscope opportunity, or instead of some components of the equipment provided under ISONscope. The presence of the equipment from this list will be taken into account during the evaluation of applications. However, we kindly ask you do not purchase any equipment from this list exclusively for applying for this opportunity before the announcement of winners.
Right. Yeah, I think it's clear. So next one. Do you need feedback from me once I have the telescope? Yeah, I think yes. Maybe Autumn, you would like to go first?
Yes, per the normal practice of scientific and technical cooperation within the cooperation with the Keldysh Institute, there will be communication on the implementation of joint observing campaigns and data exchange. And I guess in addition, according to the conditions of ISONscope opportunity, you will need to report to WOS every 6 months as well.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Also, winner is very important in our initiative. Not only the feedback on how is the telescope working, I think winner will have more interaction with WUSA, because we will be happy to invite you to talk the experience in applying this opportunity. And we had such webinars before. As I mentioned, last year we have a series of webinars. We invited many winners from other opportunities. It's useful for encouraging applicants. Also, you could check the video, it may help. And back to this question, you can find roles and responsibilities that winners have to provide feedback every 6 months once you have the telescope. Okay, I think I move next one. The support documents are mandatory, but if we didn't get any recommendation letter due to the left days, how will we deal with that? I would say apply with the more materials you could have. And one thing non-negotiable is the letter of endorsement from the head of your entity. And if your application is fine in other part, but only lack of the recommendation letter, I would keep your application in the shortlist, but we hope you could submit the recommendation letter afterwards. Otherwise, it's not possible to get awarded this opportunity. So, and yeah, last questions in my hand. Submission of the application form should be done in Word or PDF document. Do we need to maintain the table of content in the form? And for this question, yeah, as you can see in the section 13 of the announcement of opportunity, in the email, applying entities are requested to attach the application form as a PDF file. Text in the submitted file shall be selectable, except for section 1.3 of the application form, which is the letter of endorsement. The section 1.3 should be submitted as a scan of the original. It means you have to send two documents. One is the PDF document of an application form. The other is a scan of section 1.3, also in PDF for PDF format too. And also please read the application form. The first page of the AF gives instructions on how to prepare the form. Okay, I think I have finished all the questions in my hands. So I will hand the floor back to Hazuki Mori. Yeah, Hazuki, you have the floor. I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Wenbin. Thank you, Artem, for the answers. So now I see that there are a few questions in the chat, so we'll start answering those. So the first question that I saw from Madhavan was, are these telescopes a combination of radio waves and an optical one? So Artem, I'd like to throw this question at you. I will repeat it again. Are these telescopes combination of radio waves and optical?
No, this telescope exclusively for optical observations.
Okay, perfect, clear. Thank you. The next question was from Waizu. He was asking about the training from the from Keldysh. I hope that was made clear in the Q&A beforehand. Waizu, if you have any more questions about this, if you can write it in the chat and elaborate it, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Next question was from Dr. Mohammed Al-Azhari, and she was asking, how can we know the classification of a country, whether it is developed or something else? And this has also been answered by Wenbin. He referred to the World Economic Situation and Prospects Report 2020. It is on our announcement of opportunity document, and I saw Jorge put the link there, so I think that's clear. The next question is from Dr. Oloko Oba. My question is, do we need to have or build a housing for the telescope before application? Is it part of the requirement for selection?
No, you don't need to have a shelter on the moment of your application, but you need to ensure that you will build up the shelter, the pavilion, in case of if your entity will be selected as a winner.
Okay, perfect. The next question was, Are the workshops that Keldysh provides available to the public, or will we get in touch about the workshop slot? So yeah, it's about the workshops, if it's open to people that are besides the winners, and yeah, if they're able to talk about the slots beforehand, well, which I think you will, but yeah, Artem, I'll leave this to you.
You mean about will be this webinar available online?
No. I think it means the technical workshops that will be held by Keldysh to the winning institution, if that is also available to the public. So if it's available to institutions that are not the winning institution.
I get it. Yes, if it will be such demand, if it's possible, there is no problem here.
Okay, great. For the slots, you'll have plenty of time to talk with Keldysh to actually coordinate the slots for the workshops. So if you become a winning institution, you'll be able to have that. Okay, the next question was from Theory. Also, she was asking, does the ISONscope competition, will it be launched next year, and how many times will it be launched per year? This was answered by Wenbin in the Q&A. For ISONscope, this is our first round. We are in discussion. So if this round goes well, we're very happy and open to open more competitions in the future. So yeah, let's see how it goes. The next question was from Romanus, asking about the power rating of the telescope.
Honestly, I'm not sure that I get this question right. Is it about the limit magnitude of the telescope, or this about the power supply?
That's a good question. Romanus, if you can elaborate on your question about the power, what exactly do you mean? If you can write that down for us in the chat, we'll be able to clear it. Power supply.
This is 220 volts, but I guess this will be not a problem to convert from 110 volts.
Okay, perfect. I hope that was an answer to you, Romanus. If you have more, please write in the chat. At the moment, I think that was our last question. Oh, there's another one. How about limiting magnitude?
Of course, it depends on the exposure that you use. But I guess on our experience, so if it's like a telescope about like 20-25 centimeters, so you can detect objects something like up to 16 magnitude.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, the next question is, can telescope be used to detect the ejections from the sun?
It's a good question. I need to additionally discuss the possibility to use this telescope with for daytime observations, but like there are many risks in this case, and because maybe telescope will need some special equipment for daytime observations that we will not provide under this opportunity. So more like more probably that no.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we've answered all the questions in the chat. If there's any more, please send it to us now. While we wait for a minute, as my colleagues have been sharing, please make sure to answer the questionnaire form for this webinar. We'd really like to hear your feedback. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. As Wenbin explained earlier, this opportunity is open until May 1st. So you still have at least 1 month and a few days. So take your time, make sure to read all the documents very closely, and also we'll try to provide as much information as we can on the website so that we can help you. But the recordings of this webinar, the presentations will be put on our website. Well, actually the presentation's already there, but we'll definitely put the recordings up as soon as we can. And yeah, we hope that that will really help you, and we hope to really get a lot of applications for this year's ISONscope. Okay, fun question. Okay, last question from Madhavan to Artem. Fun question. Any pictures? Did you take any good pictures of asteroid 2001 F032?
Honestly, I cannot answer for sure to you now. We need to check in the database because we have observed many asteroids. So
Thank you so much.
let me.
If you become a winner, you'll be able to have a telescope that will be able to take pictures and yeah, observe these amazing things as well. So we really, really hope to have a lot of applications from you, and yeah, we're really excited for this opportunity. Do you think you can get the answer, Artem, or if not, I think.
No, I can, but I need like some time for checking.
Okay, maybe we will provide the answer in the FAQ. Currently, we have 3 questions, so I will start giving them to you. So the first question, the first 2 questions is from Evelyn. He was asking, is it necessary to own the land where the telescope will be installed? And the second question is it necessary to have the shelter ready at the time of application?
Okay, so the second question we already had before, and the answer that is not necessary. So on the moment of application, you just need to be sure that you can build up it in case if you will win this opportunity, and probably to ensure in your application that you will construct the shelter. As for the first question, I guess that it's not necessary to own the land where the telescope will be installed, but it has to be some regulations that will also ensure that you can, it's allowed to construct the pavilion there, and that it can be there for at least I guess 5 years. So it has to be some mechanism to ensure. So it could be, I don't know, renting the land, and maybe it has not to be obligatory be in as a property, but it has to be some that you need to be sure that the land will be how to say this will be possible to for the shelter be there at least for some like 5 years. We hope that more, but because for signing an agreement, the minimum period is 5 years.
Thank you very much, Artem, and thank you, Jorge, for the answer in the chat as well. Okay, before we go into the other questions, I just want to emphasize that this is your last opportunity to ask the people at Keldysh and people at UNUSA about any questions you may have, so make sure that you use this time wisely. Okay, the next question was from Francis, and he was asking if it is whether okay to apply to ISONscope as an independent group or a university. So regarding that, I'd like to talk about the application, the announcement of opportunity document, and under eligibility criteria, which is in the 4th page, it states that heads of eligible institutions, namely research organizations, higher education institutions, and universities, regional or international organizations in developing countries, which means that a student group is not exactly eligible for this opportunity. So I advise that you go through your university. And one more thing is that it doesn't have to be just your university. You are allowed to have partners. So if you want to apply as a group of universities, that's totally fine. Please just make sure that there is one leading university that has all the documents ready and has the endorsement of the university or research institution or whatever. But for your case, I advise that you go through as a university. Okay, right now, I think we have all the questions answered. I hope that I didn't miss anything. Okay, just to emphasize, ISONscope is open until May 1st. So you have 1 month and a few more days. So please make sure to read all the documents that are on our website. We will try to provide as much more as we can. We will put on the presentations already there, but we will definitely put a link to the recordings of this webinar as well. Is there another question there? I see from Evelyn. Okay, it's in Spanish. Maybe I will wait for my colleague Jorge to, okay, hold on, please give me a moment here. Okay, while Jorge is translating the Spanish for me, I'm very sorry. Let me mention again that the useful websites are all on our website. And yeah, also please make sure to answer the questionnaire form that we have put up in the link. We would really like to hear your feedback on this. And if you have any more questions and you'd like to address it to us directly, you can send us an email at UNUSA. I will put that in the link right now. UNUSA access to space@un.org. So if you have any questions that you would like to address directly, please send it to me here. Okay, for the last question from Evelyn, thank you, Jorge, for translating it. It would be, do we have to specify the shelter that we will use, even if we do not have it available at the time of application?
Does it mean that so there are minimum requirements on the shelter that are about 2 by 2 by 2 meters. So, and it's okay, this is very raw, but if you can, if you sure that you can provide a shelter, something like this, or even bigger, after you will win the opportunity, then it's okay.
Thank you, Artem. Yes, I also think that he wants to know if we have to specify where the shelter is. Define the necessary time, the necessary environment for the observation of the telescope, we will need to have an understanding of the environment of where you are going to set and install your telescope. So it doesn't mean that you have to have like a spot like right there, but you would need to give us some information about the area that you plan to put it. And yeah, you will need some information, but we do understand that it's very hard to get that information at the moment of application. So please put in as much information as you have at that moment, and then if you get selected or if you get pre-selected, we will work on that to actually secure more details. Does that make sense, Artem, for you as well?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Are there any other questions? I see someone chatting, so I'm going to wait a bit. If you could turn off your cameras if you're not the speaker, I would really appreciate that. Okay, Evelyn says, okay, thank you. If you have any more questions, this is really your last time to ask Artem and us directly, so please make sure. Okay, we have another question. Can we use this instrument to probe the ionosphere?
Honestly, I cannot answer clear on this question, but as on my experience, I suppose that to study the ionosphere, you need a much bigger field of view, because that telescope that we are going to provide is about like from 2 by 2 degrees to 4 by 4 degrees. So, and for ionospheric study, usually much bigger field of view needed. But this is ionospheric study is out of our expertise, so I may confuse here. Anyway, you may if you would win, we can discuss like this possibility.
Thank you, Artem. I hope that answers your question, Pashay. You mentioned F region, but as Artem mentioned, ionosphere is not exactly the target. Okay, thank you. I see an okay, so I guess we have answered your question. I do not see any more questions at the moment. As I put in the chat earlier, if you have any more questions or want to address us privately, please send us an email at unusa@accesstospace@un.org, and we can try to help you there as well. Okay, since we're not getting any more questions, I think we are set, and it means everybody's ready to send in their applications. So thank you so much, Artem. Thank you to our partners at Keldysh Institute. We are really excited about this opportunity. It's a new one. It's the first one in the exploration track, so we are really hoping to get a bunch of applications from all of you, and we hope to really get this going on. So thank you so much, Wenbin, for all the information. And yeah, I really hope to see a lot of applications coming in soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Wenbin. Thank you to all.
Thank you. All. And please make sure to answer our questionnaire before you leave. We would really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening wherever you are. Bye.